Shalom to the elect. It's your brother Samat coming to you with another lesson. The spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, where all praises, honor, and glory are due. And double honors to the elders and apostles, from the Apostle Har on down, who do rule well, and peace and blessing to the elect. Alright, so today's lesson, I didn't really have anything specific I wanted to talk about, but I have a note in my notes app on my iPhone, and I have all my video ideas that every time I think of an idea, I write it in there. And then this is way, if there's a video I did 6 months ago, I can go back. It's probably well over 100 in there now. I don't always add my videos, but I try to remember to as much as possible. So this way, if I ever want to do a lesson, the spirit's on me, but I don't really know what to do, I can kind of go back. And that's kind of what happened. My notes app popped up randomly, never did this before, and it was like suggestion, video ideas. I did it last night, and then I, it was kind of like winding down a little bit, and then I did it again just as I got in my car to go home. So I felt the spirit was trying to tell me to just hit the button, you know what I mean, and figure it out. So I think this lesson we're going to talk about health and wellness, all right, and how health and wellness can benefit you in this truth in your walk. All right, so we know that bodily exercise profiteth little, all right, in terms of in regards to salvation. Yeah, you could be the most fit person in this truth, but that doesn't help you get salvation. It can aid in your overall character and mentality, yes, but that itself is not really pertinent to. That in itself is not pertinent to salvation. Really, what's pertinent to salvation is the spirit that is within you, the character traits you have, the moral traits you have, and then the works to show that faith. You know what I mean? Not necessarily the doing of the law itself, but just the works, the sacrifices you make, the effort you put in, the charity you give, how humble you are. Those are the things that are going to ultimately get you a spot on that chariot. But health and wellness is very important, because with proper health and wellness, what you can do is you can help shape your mentality to that aligns with a disciplined, structured, and a man of conviction. And it's really going to ultimately take for you to receive salvation is to have those traits, right? Have a man of conviction, discipline, to deny the flesh, and the soul, as it's said, the 7 deadly sins. I believe it's in the I want to say it's in the book of Proverbs, if not Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, one of Solomon books. But just to think of a few off the top of my head, you have gluttony, which is going to pertain to this lesson. And I'll just stick with that. Yeah, pride, but gluttony was pertinent to this topic. That's probably one of the most common sinly traits amongst most people, especially Americans. We're going to speak in regards to Americans, because we know that America is the most obese country in the world. So for Americans, so I'm gonna just generalize for people, the gluttony is the biggest downfall, one of the biggest downfall we have, you know what I mean? And pride can follow that when, you try to tell somebody that they need to change their diet, they need to, fast more, control your portions, stop feeding into the flesh so much. They get prideful, make excuses, they try to lie to themselves and say, oh, I like my body, I like being fat and having rolls, and my clothes can barely fit me. Every time I sit down, my ass crack come out. It's just real shit, man. I've been a fat boy before, man. I wasn't like, super obese, but I was overweight, you know what I mean? 60 pounds overweight, probably 80 pounds overweight. I carried it decently because I had some muscle, but when you go back and look at the pictures, fat boy, man. You know what I mean? Fat boy. Definitely not the person that I identify with. That's not the identity and the perception that I want to put out into the world. Not that what people's perception of me matters, in their opinions, but rather just it's a personal thing, right? It's a personal pride, right? But it's a righteous pride though, right? Because you take pride in, because it's a symbol of the God I serve, I should say. You know what I mean? So your physique, your diet, your lifestyle should directly reflect the God that you serve, the power that you serve, your convictions, your morals, right? We claim to be princes of the power, and the Most High is going to make us gods, but how you claim to be a prince or a god or a mighty man, and you can't control what you eat, man? You can't, you fall subject to your lust consistently over and over again. Addicted to sugar, addicted to fried foods, you know, hungry every 2 hours, always got to eat. It's like you're filling the void, man. But in reality, you're weak. It's weakness. It's lack of discipline. So you have to practice self-restraint. All right, you have to figure it out. You gotta be willing to be hungry sometimes. You know what I mean? And then what you'll learn is that a lot of times you're not really hungry, man. That feeling of hunger is fleeting, man. Most of us have more than enough body fat in our bodies to not eat for several weeks. The leaner you are, probably the harder it's going to be. But then if you practice regular fasting, you know, your metabolism will kind of slow down. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, contrary to popular belief. But your metabolism will adapt to your level of activity, and how many calories you're burning based on how many calories you consume. This human body is very smart. So yeah, you brothers want to make sure you guys have a clean diet, man. Whole foods. I'm not telling you what diet to have. I'm not going to say keto. I'm not going to say carnivore. I'm not going to say vegan or Mediterranean, whatever, bro. Whatever works for you. Whatever foods you enjoy that are natural, that are filled with, are nutrient dense, I should say, you know, healthy, whatever you want to call it. You need to stick to that majority of the time, as close to 100% as possible. I want to say that, you know, every so often you might want to, you know, whatever, but it's close to 100% as possible. You want to make sure that you maintain a whole foods diet. Whole foods, simple as that. You know, whether you're a fish person, you're a steak person, you're a chicken person, or you might just really like vegetables and not want to eat meat as much. That's fine too. As long as you're eating, as long as you get your protein sources, you're smart about the protein sources you eat. You know, you eat a high amounts of legumes, that's what they call it, or legumes, whatever. Legumes sounds right. Which would be like your beans, chickpeas, hemp seeds. Which hemp seeds can also be under seeds too, but they also throw it in the legumes category, I believe. But chickpeas, which are really good. Certain beans, black beans, pinto beans. You know, these things will give you higher amounts of protein, opposed to, you know, and a replacement, I should say, of meat, which will obviously yield the highest amount of protein. But you know, you kind of you balance it out by eating, you know, your beans and stuff like that, which will also help keep you satiated, which will keep you fuller longer. You know, eat your healthy fats, your avocados, your olive oils, healthy fats from animal protein like fatty fish, fatty white fish like salmon, sardines, mackerel. Those are filled with omega-6 fatty acids, I want to say, omega-6s or omega-3s. I can't remember which one exactly was the high amount in fish. I can't remember if it was omega-3s or 6s. It slipped my mind. But you want to, and you also want to get your micronutrients, which you can get from your vegetables and fruits, your antioxidants, your fiber, which will help with digestion, inflammation, clearing out waste out of your body. So as long as you're primarily eating whole foods diet, man, like you'll feel better, man. And then when you feel better, you think better. When you think better, you move better. You make better choices. You sleep better, which is another one, man. You sleep better. When you sleep better, I'm telling you, it's a game changer. When I get poor sleep, excuse my language, when I get poor sleep, whether it's a lack of volume, meaning I get 5 hours, 4.5 hours, whatever, or I'm just constantly waking up and out of my sleep, which doesn't happen often. But usually if I get poor sleep, it's from a lack of volume, a duration. So, so like somebody calling me. It's from a lack of duration. I don't know if y'all can hear. I don't know if y'all can hear that. If y'all can hear that, Salakia. What in the fuck? Salakia, I'm hooked up to my Bluetooth thing and it was saying a number. And then I started hearing it ringing. But the point I was making is, well, damn, I just lost my train of thought. I was talking about fiber, inflammation, toxins. Damn, what was I saying? I'm gonna circle back to the fiber part. A lot of times, you know, people have a lot of inflammation in their body because they don't really eat enough fiber. You know what I mean? They don't flush out enough. You know what I mean? So, oh, I think I remember what I was talking about. Sleep. I was talking about sleep. Whenever I get a lack of sleep, usually, you know, I'm up at 5 a.m. just about every day during the week. Weekends I sleep in. Sleeping in for me could be 8 a.m., 7 a.m. Sundays I usually try to sleep as long as I can, 9, 10 a.m. But Saturdays I'm usually up around 8 a.m. So during the week I go to bed. When I have to work and I'm up at 5 a.m., I try to get 7 hours of sleep. That's like the sweet spot for me. Anywhere between 7 and 8. That's a sweet spot for me. I can get by with 6, 6.5, but it's not ideal. But 7 to 8, so between 7 and 8 hours. So I'm up at 5 a.m. So that means I have to be in bed and by between 9 and 10 and sleep by 10 o'clock. Really, we'll be 7 hours. Whenever I push past that 10 o'clock, I feel it, man. I feel it. So, and it makes me hungrier. It makes my cravings more, and I don't crave a lot anymore. A lot of sugar and shit like I used to. Ever since I kind of like put it down and I locked in on my diet and my training, and I've been losing weight. I don't crave it as much. So, fasting is proof that you fast from something, you crave it less, regardless of what it is. Alcohol, women, sugar, food. When you fast from it, you crave it less. And then when you do have it, you become more sensitized to it, which makes it more pleasurable. And then when you're more sensitized to it, you don't need as much of it to receive the pleasure. Versus when you overindulge consistently, it's like you eat it and it's never enough, so you just keep eating it because you like the way it feels or it makes you feel, but it doesn't really satisfy you, so you got to keep doing it over and over and over again. All those things are some of the biggest things. So when you sleep better, your hormones are better, right? And you think better, you have a clear mind, your digestion is better, your energy levels are higher, your cravings are less likely to happen, your body just works better. So prioritize sleep, prioritize whole food diet, and then get a training routine about yourself. Strength training, whether you want to lift weights or do calisthenics, do it 3 days a week, all right? At least 3 days a week, 30 to 45 minute sessions, anywhere from 3 to 5 exercises. I like full body. You do 1 to 2 upper body push or pull in a leg, and you rotate that every week. You could do Monday, you could do 2 exercises for your chest for pushing, one pull or back, and 1 leg. Wednesday, you can do the opposite of whatever you did upper body, whether it's push or pull, you do the opposite, 2 exercises of the opposite, 1 leg. Friday or the 3rd day, now you're going to go ahead and do 2 leg exercises. But on the days when you're not doing, on the days you're doing legs 1 exercise, I recommend doing unilateral or singular leg exercises. This is how you build uniformity. Make sure your legs are, both your legs are getting equally strong. Split squats, lunges, whether forward or reverse. Yeah, and then you got squats, and then hip thrusts. I mean, there's a lot you could do, but honestly, split squats, lunges, and normal squats, you can't go wrong with those. You can rotate those all throughout the week. And then you can also, and obviously work on your core. And then at least 2 days a week, man, get out there and get some cardio in. And I mean like higher intensity cardio. I'm not saying high intensity, but higher intensity, moderate intensity. Jog, go for a run, a light jog once or twice a week. But if you're gonna do a light jog, I'll recommend doing 1 day light jog, more so building endurance, kind of runs a little slower for, you know, multiple miles or multiple minutes, and you just keep building up from there. That's just gonna build your overall tank, make your tank bigger. And then you wanna go ahead and, for performance, you wanna go ahead and do some higher intensity cardio, which could be a faster run, or it could be sprinting, you know what I mean, in some type of interval training. And that's what I recommend. And then walk daily, man. Just walk, move your body, walk more. Try to get at least 10,000 steps a day. 8,000 should be the bare minimum. That's like on a busy day when you just can't really move a lot, but you still make an effort. But at least 10,000 steps a day, man. At least 10,000 steps a day. Walk 10 minutes after every meal. If you can get 30 minutes at the end of your day to go for a quick walk before the sun go down or something, bro, just do it. Wake up in the morning, go for a 15-minute walk before you go to work, and then come home and do a 15-minute walk. You know what I mean? It's possible. Every hour, get up, and if you got a desk job, every hour, get up and set a timer for 5 minutes and do a 5-minute walk. 2.5 minutes in one direction, depending on your office, and then walk back, or just pace around for 5 minutes, bro. Like, it's not hard. Can be done. And then, yeah, man, control your portions. Eat whole foods, fast more. Intermittent fasting helps. And just eat no more than twice a day, man. Fuck all that 3-4 meals a day shit, bro. Excuse my language. Try not to snack as often. Try to limit your snacking to at least a little as possible. You know what I mean? In between meals, unless you're eating in a small window, then it's okay. If you're eating in like a 6-hour window, then okay, you might eat at 12 and then maybe you eat a little snack at 3 and then you eat dinner at 6. Cool. But if you're doing like a normal day where you might eat breakfast at 8 a.m. and then you might not eat dinner until like 7 p.m., try to keep your snacking in between very light one time, bro. Just keep it simple, man. That's really all I pretty much got. Like I said, I didn't really have a specific topic I wanted to talk about, so this is just straight off the dome through the spirit. There was no structure to this. I just, you know, spirit was on me to put it up, and Lord willing, it's helped any of you brothers. If you want me to dive a little bit more into this topic, I'm very knowledgeable and very experienced in this topic. I've helped people, you know, get to their goals. I've myself have done it, so, and I'm doing it. So yeah, hit me in the comments. Lord willing, brothers and sisters were edified by this lesson. Until next time, shalom.